The only thing we know for sure in this life is that we will die one day. And sooner or later, someone will have to clean up the things that we've left behind. In Sweden, they have a term for this, Döstädning, or death cleaning. Dö for death, städning for cleaning. And please forgive my pronunciation, any Swedish people out there. Death cleaning may sound morbid, but it isn't. It's an act of kindness that makes life easier and can actually be profoundly satisfying. It's also important because no one is exempt. To face our own mortality and the mortality of our loved ones can feel very overwhelming. I found this book to be extremely touching because it was not only deeply human, but also utterly practical, which is my favorite combination. It honors the natural cycle that we are all bound to, but so often removed from in modern times. So what is death cleaning? In short, death cleaning is the concept and process of removing unnecessary things in order to make your home ready for the time when you will leave the planet. And it can be a kind and quiet way to add beautiful and useful things to the homes of your loved ones and friends. The main difference between death cleaning and a regular big old clean is time. Because each item that we own has a history, and it can be extremely enjoyable to spend time remembering that history. And time, of course, is a luxury of retirement. People are busy, busy, busy. Most families are scheduled within an inch of their lives. Therefore, it is both unfair and unrealistic to expect your loved ones to take time out of their busy lives while grieving you to do something that you never bothered to do yourself. Grief is not the time to be overly concerned with material possessions. But death cleaning can also make life easier for you right now, not just someone else later on. You may not even be cognizant of how much stuff you actually have until one day, out of the blue, exhaustion hits. Some people struggle with the concept of death, and therefore they avoid preparing for it. Do they think they're immortal? And of course, it is very hard. The pain of changes that can accompany aging, such as downsizing, becoming newly single, or moving into a smaller place, are very real. And downsizing of this nature is not accomplished in one afternoon. You must allot time. You have to take breaks. Maybe you can involve your grown children. Maybe not. Sometimes too many cooks in the kitchen. You know what I mean? But death cleaning can also be a gentle way to begin addressing our mortality before that time comes. The intention isn't to remove things that make our lives enjoyable, but if you cannot keep track of your things, maybe you have too many. Let me repeat that one more time for the cheap seats in the back. If you can't keep track of your things, you have too many things. Which means it's time to change the way you're living. And it is never too late. But where to start? Most of us accumulate stuff without even realizing it. Spending many years in the same home with partners, children, pets, and guests equals stuff explosion. Here are a few simple rules to keep in mind when you're death cleaning. Number 1, think in categories. Most of us think of our things as just our things, but everyone's possessions can be divided into basic categories like furniture, clothing, books, linens, and of course, different hobbyists also have different categories. Gardeners versus golfers, campers versus crafters. In general, we want to start large and work our way small. And we also want to start from the least sentimental and work our way to the most sentimental. Do not start with photographs. This is a trap. It's going to get you lost down memory lane, way, way down. And while it can be fun to visit, we're not trying to live there. At least not at the beginning of this process. Instead, start somewhere that is the complete opposite of photographs. Think basement, attic, garage, entryway. These spaces tend to be filled with things, and perhaps those things have been sitting there for a very long time. years maybe. So choose categories to start which have a large quantity and a low sentimentality. This process will obviously be easier the more organized that you are to begin with, but it will also have the inevitable effect of organizing you when you're done. We might not move as quickly as we used to, so don't wait to begin. This will become easier as you go, and you might even find it highly satisfying. If it feels right for you, tell your loved ones what you're up to. They may want to help. They may be able to move heavy things or take some stuff off your hands right away. Once the people in your life know what you're doing, you will find that a steady stream of people come to take things from you. People love free stuff. It's important to think about the new home that your items may be going to. Don't offer items that don't fit the recipient's taste or space. When you carefully decide on a new home for your things, it may bring you and the recipient an unexpected amount of joy. You can hope and wait for someone to take a cherished item, but you cannot wait forever. Sometimes it's best to just let things go and believe that they will serve to create new happy memories wherever they land. Maybe you've forgotten what you even have. Good for you! Now you know you're not going to miss it. And when in doubt, get a second opinion, preferably from someone with a very different and non-sentimental perspective. A professional, perhaps? And if you come up with questions as you go, write them down so that when your second opinion stops by, you can ask, hey, do people still use armoires? Above all, do not forget yourself. Death cleaning can be totally absorbing and also very tiring. If it's possible, go at a pace that suits you. Regard this process the same way you would a regular job. Take breaks and stop at the end of a session. Remember to enjoy the life you're living right now, while you can also look forward to an easier and calmer future. Anybody can tell you that aging is not for weaklings. And that's why you can't wait too long to begin the process of going through your things, because sooner or later, we may not be as capable. You want to be able to enjoy the things that you can still do without the burden of a huge house and a huge mess. When it comes to furniture and downsizing, your best bet is to do a room-by-room inventory and break things into categories. Stay if perhaps the new homeowners want to purchase items along with the house. Give away, toss, and move. It can be handy to sticker furniture items with color-coded dots as you go. When downsizing and moving, it's just as important to measure your new space as it is to take care of the things in your old space. Make sure to measure door frames, corners, and stairwells. That will help you to avoid moving furniture which may not even fit. And you can use graph paper to scale your measurements and experiment with your floor plan. This will allow you to start envisioning what your life could be like in your new space. It's kind of amazing and also a little strange how much stuff we can accumulate in a lifetime. You may have 20, 30, 40, or more years of the latest fashions. Clothing is a great starting category when you're death cleaning, because for most of us, it's a large category. Spend some time going through your wardrobe and eliminating items that you haven't worn in years. Give yourself permission to be who and where you are right now. If you're still rocking platform heels in your mid-80s, by all means, keep them. But I highly doubt it, and also, I don't want to see your feet. Children's clothing can be particularly difficult to give away, mostly because it's so small and cute, and because it's so much fun to tell a 6-foot-tall man that this tiny sweater used to be his. And baby clothes, like so many things, used to be better made. A small box of the best of these items is usually enough to pass on to the grandchildren, which may materialize one day. And if they never do, it's just one box. Another voluminous category for many of us is books. Some books can be sentimental. They may have handwritten notes or be very old. Give these notes one last read before letting them go. Several books on one subject may interest someone or could be sold as a lot. Consider keeping only the books that you have not yet read or that you return to again and again. The kitchen is another place where we may be harboring excess. Even the most sentimental among us can readily admit that you probably don't need 4 cheese slicers. If you still entertain guests, consider keeping only the number of plates, glasses, etc. that you can actually fit at your table. And maybe instead of storing years of decor for every holiday, consider giving it away. And when the next holiday comes, use fresh flowers or greenery to decorate your table and your space. Printed cookbooks are easier to get rid of because it's so simple to find any recipe you can imagine on the internet now. It's the personal stories that we want to keep and savor. For this reason, you might decide to keep family recipes because they may have resonant memories associated with them. All of our hobbies require paraphernalia, maintenance, and repair. Many people seem to enjoy organizing the gear for their hobbies more than actually doing their hobbies, and I admire the spirit of that. There are endless reasons to justify the purchase of new tools, and men of every generation seem to leap at the opportunity to go to the hardware store. Hence, tool sheds and man caves. In Swedish, they're called mansdages, or men's kindergarten. Love that, so apropos. When attempting to divest yourself of tools, it can be especially effective to invite young men into your space because obviously tools are expensive and these young men are trying to build man caves of their own. But let's be honest, I don't know a ton about man caves or tools. Comment below if you have suggestions on this one. Many of us love our gardens, and it can be really difficult to move from a large plot of land to a tiny space which may have only a windowsill or a balcony. One easy fix is to just leave all your tools with the garden. And be sure to purchase some perennials and herbs for your new space. A home needs plants. Just my opinion. And if the joy for you is in digging directly into the earth, you could always consider joining a community garden plot. The best part of being a member of a community plot is that if the day comes that you're no longer willing or able to take care of it, you don't have to. Someone else will. No guilt. Technology advances so fast that it can feel almost impossible to keep pace, especially when we're older. But it is extremely important that you have a designated place to write down all of your digital passwords. This goes for everyone. I don't care what age you are. Your best bet is a spiral notebook and the 3-column method shown here. Write down the website that you're using an account on, the username for that website, and the password, and keep them all together in a non-digital document. Collections. To collect things is human. It's our foraging instinct held over into the modern world. Sometimes large collections can be useful, but sometimes they can become a burden to family that inherits them later on. When I was growing up, a friend of mine inherited her grandmother's salt and pepper shaker collection. And this wasn't a cute little collection. This was a massive lifelong endeavor. When it finally arrived at their home, it took up an entire wall of storage shelving in their basement. While at first I think the novelty was delightful, it wore off pretty quickly. If no one wants your collection, consider a museum or maybe the internet to sell your collection as a lot. This is different from hoarding, of course, which has deeper psychological implications and may require professional help or intervention. There's no shame in the adoration of beautiful things, but it is a good spiritual practice to enjoy them without feeling the need to own them. Perhaps you're familiar with the French term for shopping without purchasing, window licking. It's a great method because we know we really can't take it with us. Plus, beautiful things are easy to give away. If you are invited as a guest to someone's home, consider bringing the hostess one of your treasures instead of purchasing a bottle of wine or a bouquet of flowers. Maybe some wine too. A truly inspired home is not only beautiful, but practical and easy to keep clean. I want to read one quote directly from this wonderful book. I sometimes get so tired. Many of these homes look as if all the furniture were supplied by the same store, colorless, plain, perfect, and without any charm at all. Too many pieces for decoration arranged on parade. Who will want to dust all that, I wonder? You read us to filth, Margareta Magnusson. She is not wrong. Does anyone really keep track of everything they gift someone? If I give someone a present, I understand that it might not stay with that person for forever. You should feel at absolute liberty to get rid of gifts that you don't care for. Keeping things for the sake of someone else is never a good idea, if only for the fact that they'll believe you like it and give you more. This is your official permission to never feel guilty for getting rid of a gift. Gratitude isn't about the object. It's about the act of giving and the person who gave it to you. And then, of course, there's the delicate stuff. Secrets. If it was your secret, keep it that way. People love to gossip, and this includes after someone passes away. Did you hear about the cigarette cartons in the back of the linen closet? The gin bottles at the bottom of the pantry? The drawer filled with toys? There's no real shame in earthly vices because we all have them. Although now they may be more digital, but perhaps it's a nice gift to your loved ones to reduce the number of these types of items that they might find. By all means, save your favorite toy. Maybe just consider getting rid of the other 15. There is no sense in saving things that may shock or upset your family or change the way that they thought about you after you're gone. Papers, letters, diaries, which might embarrass or disgrace you, should be fed into a healthy bonfire or a hungry shredder. And our pets. When one has lived with pets for a very long time, it can feel extremely sad and lonely to be without them. You want to make sure that your best friend gets the best care possible if you leave the party first. Talk to your friends and family and make sure that there's someone in your life who would happily take care of them when you're gone. Alternatively, kennels and humane societies can help place young, healthy pets in loving new homes. The hardest thing is that sometimes we have to let them go. Letting go of things, of people, of pets, when there's no better alternative is a very hard lesson, but it's one that life will continue to teach us more and more as time goes on. Finally, we come to photographs. These can be really difficult to deal with on a lot of different levels. First, going through them can bring up so many memories. You may want to give these to your family, but it is important to remember that your family's memories and your memories are not always the same. Although we have digital photos mostly now, I still think the nicest thing is when photos are in an album, and the best types of albums are loose leaf so that you can always add more pages. One solution for photos is to create an album for each family member. Before placing any of your photos into albums, discard your multiples and any that are truly unflattering or blurry. And consider that if you're the oldest person in the family, it's important that you be able to name everyone in the photograph, because if you can't, certainly the younger family members aren't going to be able to either. But really old photographs may also have cultural or historical significance, even if you don't know the people in them. Slides are another relic of the past. Spending time with a film scanner to digitize these is a really great way to preserve them as well as divest yourself from the volume. It's easy to get lost among these memories, and this will take time, so give yourself grace. But it will be so much more enjoyable to spend time doing this in peace and quiet once you've made progress in other categories. Plus, photos don't take up that much space, and of all the things we've talked about, I think photos are the thing that people would least resent being left with. A great option is making an event out of death cleaning your photos with your family. This can make it feel a lot less lonely and a lot more fun. You don't have to carry the weight of all of these memories yourself. Tell the stories. Pass them on. And of course, no matter how much we clean, sort, and organize, there are inevitably things that we simply cannot part with. Some treasures deserve to be saved, especially if they make you smile. Designate and label one box the throwaway box. Don't choose a huge box for this. A normal shoebox should do the job, but this is a place where you can keep all of your old love letters, postcards, and all the things that have absolutely no value to anyone, but that you would rather paper your walls with than throw away. Things that might remind you of a special day or a certain memory. This box is just for you. Your loved ones may check the contents when you're gone, or they may not. Talking to our aging parents. Our parents are the ones that taught us that we must respect our elders and that manners are important. But these lessons can sometimes impede conversations about death. If you are the child of an aging parent and want to begin the conversation, try asking the following questions. You have so many nice things. Have you thought about what you want to do with them later on? Do you still enjoy having all this stuff? Could life be easier or maybe a little less tiring if we started to get rid of some of the things that you've collected over the years? Is there anything that we could do together in a slow way so that there won't be as much to handle later? There are some nice things here that I might like to have. Do you think I could take them now? You can also broach the topic by posing it as a question of safety, especially if a mountain of stuff could be a hazard for your folks to trip, slip, or fall. The biggest thing to remember is that you don't have to rush this process. You can always come back in a few weeks or months and ask again and again, and maybe try a different approach each time. Even if you do not have children, someone will have to clean up after you. If you do not death clean to determine what is valuable, when you die, a big truck will come and take it all to the dump. So go through your items, remember them, and then give them away. Because there's always a young person who's starting a new life. You don't have to be blood relatives to gift someone pots and pans or a stack of books or an old desk. Tell the story of this object to the person who takes it. They might pass that story on to the next. And in 100 years, it might be inspiring future generations. In this way, we are all connected. Death cleaning is something that we do to spare the ones we leave behind, but it's also for ourselves. And it won't be as Herculean a task if you start early, say at 65 or 70 rather than 80 plus. One's own gratification and the ability to find meaning and memory is the most important thing. It's a delight to go through things and remember their worth. And if you can't, it's that much easier to part with. Death cleaning isn't just about things. If it were, it wouldn't be so difficult. It's really about the story of your life. And that's why possessions might bring up memories, but it's so much more potent with photos and letters because it's about the feelings that resurface. It's inevitable that you will laugh and you will cry as you go, but it's also inevitable that you will become braver, and you must be brave to death clean. You must be brave enough to truly look at the story of your life. You must be brave enough to ask yourself, will anyone I know truly be happier if I save this? Death cleaning is also about taking control. The world loves to tell us that we are less capable as we age, but how we would prefer things to be if we should fall ill and what our final wishes are within our control. So write down a short, practical list of instructions and keep it with your passwords or other important paperwork and tell a loved one. The real reward when you've managed to do this work is renewal, a renewed knowledge of your own capability. Perhaps you'll celebrate by traveling somewhere new, or inviting folks over for a dinner, or even with something as simple as a bouquet of fresh flowers. And if all else fails, you can always go shopping. The Vikings had a tradition to be buried with their possessions. Very clever. Nowadays, we would need to dig an Olympic-sized swimming pool to do this. Here in the United States of America, we're very different than much of the Western world by virtue of space. We live in a huge country with seemingly endless sprawl, and we are not as often confronted by the practicalities of not having enough room. In fact, it's become fashionable amongst baby boomers to upsize their homes in retirement. But whether you live in a mansion or a studio apartment doesn't actually matter. It's how you live that counts. How you make space for connection and for joy, and how you define and create a meaningful life. For me, a meaningful life is an intentional life. We all will die, but don't let that make you afraid to live as well as you can for as long as you can. Thank you for sharing your time with me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye! And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that death cleaning, like so much unacknowledged and unpaid domestic labor vital to society, is traditionally performed by women.